Good morning students. Today we will discuss the chapter digestive system. So what is digestive system? Digestive system is that system in our body through which the food which we eat, it is broken down into small molecules and then it is utilized in our body. Now students, firstly I will tell you why there is a need for digestive system. Now the food that we eat, it cannot be utilized as such in the body. Means the food, the food which we eat, it is in the form of a larger form of molecules. This food, it cannot be utilized in the same. So this food, it must be changed into some soluble absorbable form so that it will be easily absorbed by the blood and then it can be distributed in the body with the help of blood. Now certain foods just like cane sugars, although they are readily soluble in water, but as they are complex carbohydrate molecules, so they also require a breaking down of their molecules into smaller units. Smaller units means small molecules, so that they can easily pass through the cell membranes of the wall of the gut. So that is we are having a need for digestive system for the proper distribution or proper digestion and then proper distribution of our body. Now if we discuss the definition of digestion, then digestion, it is a breakdown of naturally occurring foodstuffs into simple form. Naturally occurring foodstuffs means the food which we eat just like plants and some products which we get from animals. All these things when we eat, then as they are in the form of larger molecules, so the process of digestion, it breaks down these large molecules into simple molecules and then these simple molecules, they can be easily diffused in our body or they can be easily absorbed in our body. Diffusible form means the form in which they can easily pass from the blood capillaries to the cells. Then digestion, there is one more definition of digestion. It is any change. Digestion means any change which makes the food soluble and of such chemical nature that they can be absorbed through living membranes. Through living membranes means membranes of the cells. So I think now everything is clear about the digestion process. Now students, I will tell you that enzymes, these enzymes, they play an important role in the process of digestion of food. And there are hundreds of enzymes in addition to those involved in digestion. In our body, there are hundreds of enzymes in addition to those enzymes which are involved in the process of digestion. And the general characteristics of all these enzymes, they are same. Now if we discuss the general characteristics of an enzyme, then you can see that enzyme, it is a protein. So you people know that proteins, they can be easily destroyed by heat. So that's why the enzymes, they are also destroyed by heating. They always require a narrow temperature range so that they can easily work at this temperature. Second one is that it acts only one kind of substance, which is called the substrate. Means if one particular enzyme acts on one substance, the next time that particular enzyme, it again acts on the same substance. So that means it is specific in nature. Then it always forms the same end products from the substrate. As it acts upon the same kind of substance, it always acts upon the same kind of substance. So that's why it always forms the same end products from the same substrate. Then it only affects the rate of a chemical reaction and always speeds up the reaction. Speeds up the reaction means it acts as a catalyst. Then like a catalyst, it can be used again and again. Then as I have already told that it acts best on a particular narrow temperature range. In the same way, it acts best on a particular pH value, that is at a particular degree of acidity or alkalinity. Now students, I will tell you that that particular narrow temperature range, it is between 35 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Below these temperatures, the enzyme, they can't work properly, and above this temperature, they will get destroyed. So this temperature range, it is also known as the optimum temperature. Now students, we will discuss the digestive system. Now digestive system, it mainly consists of two parts. First one is called alimentary canal and second one is called digestive glands. Now alimentary canal, it is a muscular tube which starts from our mouth and ends at the anus. This alimentary canal, it is a long muscular tube which is present in our body, and it starts from our mouth and ends at the anus. So it means all the digestive organs, just like from after mouth there is another one food pipe, that which is called esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, and after that anus. All these organs, they will lie in this alimentary canal. Now this alimentary canal, it is about 9 meters long, and it is highly coiled in certain regions, especially in the small intestine. So its various regions, they are different both in structure and functions. Means this alimentary canal is having different regions, just like esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, anus. But when we study further, then you people will see that all these regions, they are different in function and they are also different in their structure. Now this alimentary canal, it is also having the digestive glands, and these digestive glands, they are located in the lining means in the walls of the various regions of the digestive tube. And the main two digestive glands which are present in our digestive system, they are liver and the pancreas. And there are three other salivary glands which are present in our mouth. So it is all about our digestive system, not all about, it is only a small description or the main parts of our digestive system. Now we will discuss the different organs of our digestive system. Now students, firstly we will discuss the mouth. Mouth, which is also known as the oral cavity, it is the space where the food is chewed. You all people are well aware about mouth, that what is mouth. So in the mouth, the food is chewed and then it is mixed with saliva here, because in the mouth the salivary glands are present, and when the food, it is present in the mouth, then these salivary glands, they start secreting saliva, and then this saliva, it gets mixed with the food. Now our mouth, it is having two limits. One is the upper limit, which is known as the upper lip. Second one, lower limit, which is known as the lower lip. Now students, these lips, they are also having some important function in our mouth. Now these lips, they help in closing our mouth. First function of our lips is that they help in closing our mouth. Then they help in sucking and sipping liquids. Then without lips we can't speak, so they also help in speaking. And the last and the most important function of lips is that they help in perceiving sensations. Means with the help of lips we can we are having a sense of hot objects or hot things, and we are having something cold, and then touch, mainly touch sensation we can perceive with the help of lips. Then a muscular tongue. Then in the mouth, a muscular tongue, it is also present, and this muscular tongue, it helps in manipulating the food while chewing and mixing it with saliva. So this is the function of tongue, that it helps in manipulating the food. Manipulating means it's starts converting the food in some other ball-like mass, and then this food during the chewing it get mixed with the saliva also. Then this muscular tongue, it also helps in tasting, because you people know that tongue, it is a main organ with the help of which we can taste the things. And this tongue, it is having in recognizing mainly 4 types of taste, just like sweet, bitter, and sour, and one more is here, sweet, bitter, and sour. Mainly these tastes we can recognize with the help of the tongue. Then tongue, it also helps in cleaning the food particles. It also helps in cleaning the food particles from the teeth after eating it. And tongue, like lips, it also helps in speaking. So it is all about the tongue. Now students, we will discuss the teeth, which is also known as the dentition. Now teeth, they are having a very special role, because they cut and break down the food into smaller bits. And these small size bits of food, they have a relatively larger surface area for the enzymes to act on for better digestion. So it is a main function of teeth, that teeth, they cut the food into small size particles. So why teeth, they cut the food into small size particles? Because these small size particles, they are having a larger surface area, and due to which it will be easy for the enzymes to act upon this larger surface area, so that better digestion it can occur. Now the teeth, they also help in speaking, and the teeth, they also help to add our facial beauty. So it is about the teeth. Now students, you people know that how many types of teeth we are having in our mouth. We are having mainly 4 types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and next one is molars. This one is the molar teeth. Now actually an adult human being, it is having total 32 number of teeth in its mouth. So these 32 teeth, this I have told that they are divided into 4 categories, and all these different categories of teeth, they perform their different functions. Now if we discuss the structure of incisors, then you can see here that these incisors, their cutting ends, cutting edges, these are the cutting edges, they are broad and sharp like a chisel, and they are used for biting and cutting the food. And are the front teeth, which is present in our mouth, which are present in the center of each jaw, and they are total 4 in number. Now if we discuss the canines, now canines on the other side of the incisors, they are present on either side of the incisor in each jaw, and these are this you can see that they are conical in shape, and they are sharply pointed also for holding and tearing the food. Now students, we will discuss the third type of teeth, which is called the premolars. Now premolars, you can see that firstly each premolar, it is having 2 heel-like projections. These are the 2 heel-like projections, and these 2 heel-like projections, they are also these 2 heel-like projections, they are also known as the cusps. So that's why this premolar, it is also known as bicuspid teeth. Now these 2 bicuspid teeth, they are present in each jaw next to the canines, and they are 2 in number. In each jaw they are 2 in number. Then premolars help in grinding, because they have a broad surface, so that's why they help in grinding and crushing the food. So the next type of teeth, it is called the molars. Now molars, they are the last 3 teeth on each surface. What are molars? These are the last 3 teeth on each side in each jaw, and they have a larger surface area than the premolars. And because they have a larger surface area, so that's why they are better grinders than premolars. So that's why they are also known as the principal grinders and crushers of food. Okay. And then you people can see that the last molar of each side in each jaw, it is also known as the wisdom tooth. Why this last molar on each side of each jaw, it is called wisdom tooth? Because this tooth, it appears at the age of about 17 to 20 years, at the age of about 17 to 20 years. And at this age, often in our society, in our families, it is said that at this age the people, it is getting matured, or he is getting the wisdom. So that's why this teeth, it also appears at the age of 17 to 20 years. So that's why it is also known as the wisdom tooth. Now the human or mammalian teeth, they are different in shape, so that's why they are called heterodont. Because here you can see in this diagram, you can see that these are the main incisors which are present at the center. The next to incisors, these are the canines. This is a canine, one canine is here and one canine on this side. Then two incisors at the center, two incisors are here, two incisors at this side. Then one canine here, one canine at this side. Then these are the two premolars this side, again two premolars this side. Again after two premolars there are three molars, and again there are three molars, you can see. So there are total 16 teeth in one jaw and upper jaw, and 16 teeth in the lower jaw. And this one is the last molar which appears at the age of 17 to 20. So this is known as the wisdom tooth. So total number of teeth in one half means this half, in one half of each jaw, the total number of teeth 2, 1, 3, 2, 5, 3, 8, and a total number of teeth in other half of upper jaw, it is again 8. So total 8 and 8, it becomes 16. So total number of teeth in our upper jaw, they are 16. In the same way, total number of teeth in our lower jaw, it is also 16. So total number of teeth in adult human being, it is 32. So in this way we have discussed the different types and total number of teeth in human being. Now students, I have told you that you can see here that there are four different shapes or four different types of teeth, they are present in human jaw. So that this type of dentition in human beings, it is known as the heterodont. This is called the heterodont because these are the different teeth, they are present in jaw. Now as opposed to this heterodont, there is one another dentition which is present in our mouth. That one is known as the homodont. Homodont means here the animals, they are having the same type of teeth in their mouth, just like lizard and frog. These frog and lizard, they are having the same type of teeth. Now students, it is written here confusion over the name molar. Why the dentists, they got confused over the name molar? Because the dentists, they usually call the premolars of a child as molars or grinders of the foot, because since the grinders, they appear in two sets. First, the ones that are shed. Shed means when the child, it reaches at the age of, I think, 5 to 6 years, then his first set of grinders, it starts shedding, and in their place the new premolars, they are regrowing. But the second set of molars, when they appear only once as permanent grinders. So it is scientifically more appropriate to give two separate names to the two kinds as premolars and molars. We can't say all the grinders as molars. We will say those grinders as premolars which are shedding in the first set, which in the first set they are shedding, and again in their place the new molars, they are regrowing. But here second set, it is the molars only, because they are the permanent grinders, they will not shed, they are present in our mouth right from the beginning. So in this way we have discussed all the different types of teeth. Now students, I will tell you that in our total lifetime we are having mainly two sets of teeth. ठीक है, टू सेट्स ऑफ टीथ होते हैं हमारी ड्यूरिंग लाइफ टाइम के टाइम पे. In humans, the first set it is known as the milk teeth, and this milk teeth, our first set, it consists of 20 teeth, and here all are present but not the molars. Only molars are absent in these 20 teeth, and others teeth like canines, incisors, and premolars, they are present. And all these teeth, they start growing through the gums, and when the child it is about 7 to 8 months old, then they are completed when he is about 2 years old. Means these teeth, they start appearing at the age of 7 to 8 months, and when the child it is about 2 years old, then they have completed all their teeth. So these teeth, as when the child it reaches at the age of 8 to 9 years, then these teeth, they start shedding. So that's why these teeth, they are also known as the temporary teeth. What are they called? They are also known as the temporary teeth, and they are also known as the deciduous teeth. Now these teeth, they fall out, as I have already told you that they fall out. Why these teeth they fall out? Because their roots, they start dissolving away in the jaw. Means their roots, they being dissolved away in the jaw, and when their roots they are dissolved, so these teeth, they are not having a hold in the jaw, so they start shedding, and they are completely replaced by the permanent teeth by about 12 years of age. Means when the child reaches the age of 12 years, then these fallen teeth, they again replaced by the regrowing of the new teeth, which are known as the permanent teeth. Now students, we will discuss the dental formula of teeth. Now the number of permanent teeth of mammals, it is always indicated in a formula, and in this formula the number of canines, number of premolars, and then molars and incisors, it is given in the same order for one half of each jaw. डेंटल फार्मूला का मतलब क्या होता है कि इसमें नंबर ऑफ इंसीजर्स, कैनाइंस, प्रीमोलार्स और मोलार्स, दे आर ऑलवेज गिवन इन द सेम ऑर्डर फॉर वन हाफ ऑफ ईच jaw. Now if we take the example of a child who is having the number of 20 milk teeth, then this child it is of 2 years old, and you can see that this child is having 2 incisors in one half of its upper jaw, one canine, this I have already told you, and this one is the we can say here it is the premolar, and this one is the molar. So two molars, they are present in each half of the upper jaw. So total number of teeth is here in upper one half of upper jaw, total teeth 5. In lower half or in the other half of upper jaw, the total number of teeth is again 5. So it is the number of total number of teeth in the upper jaw. So 2 to 4, 1 5, 1 6 to 8 to 10. So again we will take the number of teeth, 10 teeth in the lower jaw. So total number of teeth in it is about 20 milk teeth. So in the same way, if we take example of an adolescent who is reaching at the age of 17 to 20 years, whose wisdom teeth it is also appearing now. So here you can see 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolar and 2 molars, and in the same way in the other half of upper jaw, then 2 to 4, 1 5 to 7, 2 to 4, 1 5 to 7, 7 and 7 कितने हो गए हमारे 14. तो 14 टीथ हो गए हमारे टोटल अपर जाव में, और 14 ही हमारे लोअर जाव में होंगे. तो टोटल नंबर ऑफ टीथ कितना होगा 28 हो गया. तो अडल्ट में भी इसी तरह हो जाएगा. इसका डेंटल फार्मूला आता है 2 1 2 3 2 1 2 3. टोटल नंबर ऑफ टीथ इन फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ अपर जा 3 2 5 1 6 2 8. देन इन लोअर जा in other half of the upper jaw 3 2 5 1 6 2 8 8 and 8 16 हो गए. टोटल नंबर ऑफ टीथ इन अपर जा 16. तो इन द टोटल नंबर ऑफ टीथ इन द लोअर जा में भी कितने हो जाएंगे हमारे 16 हो जाएंगे. तो 16 और 16 टोटल कितने हो गए हमारे 32 टीथ हो गए विद विजडम टीथ एट इट. तो इस तरह से एक अडल्ट में जो टोटल नंबर ऑफ टीथ हो जाएगा वो कितना हो जाएगा 32. So it is about the number of teeth. Now students, we will discuss the structure of a tooth. नाउ स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए टूथ क्या क्या है इसका, टूथ का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है कि जनरली जो टीथ होते हैं दे आर हैविंग द सेम स्ट्रक्चर, ठीक है। द जनरल स्ट्रक्चर जो होता है ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ टीथ इट इज़ द सेम, and each tooth it consists of mainly two parts. One part it is known as the crown, as you can see in this diagram. This upper part it is known as the crown part, and this lower part it is known as the root part. Now this crown part it is mainly upper the gums or above the gums, and this root part it is mainly embedded in a cup like socket of a jawbone. This you can see it is a cup like socket of a jaw. This is a cup like socket of a jawbone. Here you can see clearly that this one is the upper part which is called crown. This part it is above the gums. This lower part which is known as the root part, and this root part it is embedded in a bony structure of jaw or a cup like socket of the jawbone, and this is the root part. Now this root it again consists of a single process or fang, as in incisors and canines, means it is having only one root in case of incisors and canines. So it is written here that it consists of a single process. Then in incisor and or of sometimes as in incisor and canines में इसकी एक ही रूट होती है, लेकिन अगर हम प्रीमोलार और मोलार्स की बात करें तो जो टीथ हैं हमारे उसकी टू रूट्स होती हैं, उन रूट्स को हम बोलते हैं फैंग्स बोलते हैं, ठीक है। दे आर हैविंग टू फैंग्स एज इन केस ऑफ प्रीमोलार्स एंड लोअर मोलार्स। और अगर हम अपर मोलार्स की बात करें उसमें जो ये फैंग्स है ये 3 नंबर हो जाते हैं, ठीक, समझ में आ गई मेरी बात। इंसीजर्स और कैनिन्स में दे आर हैविंग ओनली वन प्रोसेस और फैंग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, बट इन प्रीमोलार्स एंड लोअर मोलार्स दे आर हैविंग 2 फैंग्स, बट इन अपर मोलार्स दे आर हैविंग 3 फैंग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स, फैंग्स. So that's why it is very difficult to pull out the molars of upper jaw. It is very painful because they are having 3 roots, they are having 3 fang like structures, and so that's why it is very difficult to pull out these upper molar from the upper jaw. Then here you can see there is a small constricted portion, it is present here. So this small constricted portion it is known as the neck region, which is present between the crown and that one root. Okay, now in a vertical section if we discuss, this is a vertical section. Now if we discuss the structure of a teeth, then you can see that this is the white material which covers whole of the crown, and this upper ivory material or white material it is known as the enamel, and this enamel it is the hardest substance in the body, even it is more harder than our bones. Then second one it is this portion, it is called the dentine portion. This dentine portion it forms the bulk of the tooth, because you can see that it is present throughout the tooth, so it is forms the bulk of the tooth. And this dentine it is also harder than bone, but it is not more harder than enamel. Now this dentine it is has minute canals, you can see it is having minute canal like structures through which run the strands of cytoplasm of the सेल्स इन पल्प कैविटी. तो इन स्टैंड में से होके जो इसका जो साइटोप्लाज्म है वो हमारी जो पल्प कैविटी है, जो इसके बीच में जो पल्प कैविटी है इसमें जाता है. इस स्टैंड में से जो साइटोप्लाज्म है इस पल्प कैविटी में जाता है. ठीक है बेटा, तो ये होगा हमारा डेंटाइन. अब हमारा जो नेक्स्ट पोर्शन आता है उसको हम बोलते हैं, दिस वन इज द cemented portion, and this cemented portion it lies next to dentine, and this cemented portion it helps in fixing the root of the tooth in its place. ठीक, तो उसके बाद जो हमारा नेक्स्ट पोर्शन आ गया वो हमारा आ गया ये पल्प वाला, पल्प कैविटी आ गई. तो पल्प क्या होती है? इट इज़ दी सॉफ्ट कनेक्टिव टिश्यू. पल्प एक्चुअली होता क्या है? सॉफ्ट कनेक्टिव टिश्यू होता है. soft connective tissue, and it is contained in the central space of the tooth. And this pulp cavity, here you can show you the diagram again. Here I will show you that this pulp cavity, it consists of blood capillaries, lymph vessels and nerve fibers, and they are continuously below which are continuous below those of the body through the opening of the pulp cavity at the base of the root. So in here you can see that this contains this pulp cavity. What does it contain? It contains the blood capillaries, it contains the lymph vessels, and it contains the nerve fibers. And through its opening, this blood through the capillaries, it gets continued. These capillaries gets continued with the other capillaries of our body. Here through this opening, we get continued with the other capillaries which are present below this root of the teeth. So in this way, it is all about the structure of the tooth. So with it, I will finish my today's lecture. Next time we will discuss our next topics, that is the salivary glands and other organs of the digestive system. So until that, you have to revise all the topics. So okay students, bye bye and thank you.